Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another show of the rules. And this video goes down to over 50 and fantabulous. And today I'm going to talk about my story, why did I come here, and my life and about my life in Russia. So let's start. I was born in the 80s. You know, when I was born, like December 86. When I was a kid, I was kind of difficult kid, you know. I went to school a year later. You know, in Russia you go to school when you're like 7 years old. I went to school when I was 8 because I had behavioral issues. I went to Jewish school, the small school, so we had like only like 10 people in class. Like some classes I even have less than 10. As a student I was okay. Like, you know, I didn't go for school for retarded kids, unlike Todd. I went to like normal school, but it was less people over there. I was bullied a little bit, people making fun of me a little bit, but I was alright. I was not very strong, also kind of weak, but I was not a bad student. I was like B student, I was doing okay in my classes. I was never the worst, was never the best. The only subject I was struggling with was geometry. I could never understand that, like I was dumb at geometry, but I was able always to pull the C off, barely. That was the only subject where my mom was helping me doing the homework because I was doing everything by myself and I was in school. Had some friends, we were hanging out with some people. Unlike Elliot Roger, I didn't have it that bad. So, my teenage years, you know, like everybody said that it can be hell or very nice and this and that. For me, it was alright. I didn't have any girls, but again, my friends, most of my friends, they had girlfriends when they're like around 20 years old. I was in different society, you know, in Russia. The culture was like, I feel like, well, there are of course people who have sex at a younger age in Russia. Like, I knew some people who had sex when I was 16 years old, but most of my friends, they basically lost their virginity probably ages like 19, 20. For me it was 23, but it's different. I actually did in America anyway. My teenage years were alright. I was drinking, because you know in Russia, legal drinking age is 16 and legal age to smoke is 16. So, a little bit lower than in the United States. But again, people don't follow the law. So, teenage drinking in Russia, it's normal. Like in Russia, you can walk down the street with a beer and it like was normal. The downsides of Russia that cops are corrupt. Like for example, cops can abuse their power, they can bribe people. They can bribe people, they can take advantage of people. People are not driving properly, like some people driving on the sidewalks, bad traffic is in Russia in certain times. No freeways in St. Petersburg, but we have a lot of cars, so the roads are different because there we have more public transportation, like you have buses, trolley buses, trolleys, versus in Columbus we don't have all of that. And then everything is close, like here you have to drive far away to go to the store. You have to have a car. In Russia you can just leave home, cross the street and buy groceries. It's just that close, everything is so close in Russia. And all the friends used to live close to me, so I didn't have to walk far or go far out of my way to hang out or to buy some stuff. Unlike in the United States, everything was in a close proximity. And in Russia I didn't know how to drive. Again, nobody needed it, because in St. Petersburg, Russia, like a lot of people don't know how to drive. Like my mom doesn't. She's in her 60s, her early 60s. She doesn't know how to drive till this day. Because she didn't have to. A lot of people don't have to learn how to drive. In Russia, like in Africa, also people like, it's okay for leave kids with their parents. For example, here in the United States, when kid's like 18 years old, he goes to live by himself. In Russia, there can be people like 40-year-old people living with their 70-year-old parents, and then they may have kids on their own living with them, and then kids can be married and they still live with their parents, etc., etc. I mean, it depends, but in Russia people do live like that. Now, some people in Russia, they live like in a communal like houses where there's like different people. I didn't live like that. I had my own apartment. Most of the people in Russia live in the apartments, so we have like 5, 9, 12 story houses, right, and like 7 apartments on each floor. So this is how I lived. I had my own 3-bedroom apartment, which by the way looks nicer than the crib I'm living in the United States. So 3-bedroom apartment. Now my mom lives there by herself on the 5th floor. And in Russia, you can go look, and from the street you can see all the people walking down. And like in the United States, people live in the houses. Well, I mean, I live in Columbus, so I mean, it's different, I guess. In the New York, maybe it's kind of closer to where I'm from, because I'm from the big city. I'm from St. Petersburg, so when it comes to clubbing and stuff, people in Russia can party till like 6 in the morning, okay? And here everything shuts down at 2:30. That's it. It's already too late. In Russia, people party till 6 in the morning, and they go clubbing. We don't have IDs, so people just judging you by look. Some people may not sell you beer if you look under 18, but a lot of people don't even care. So you can just go to the liquor store when like 16, 15 years old. People can tell that you don't look 18, but nobody cares, so you can just buy anything you want, because people don't really like pay attention to things like that. What else? Well, yeah, we have subways in Russia, in St. Petersburg. We do have subways too. So transportation is available. The prices are about the same if you're gonna convert the currency, so level of life is the same, salary is about the same, I guess, in a way. It's not like in Russia everything is way cheaper than here, level of life. But people also live here on like $1,000 a month. But again, in Russia you don't have to pay as much rent, and if you gonna get hurt here, you have to pay bunch of money, right, for medicine. Like they're gonna take, if you fall unconscious on the street, they're gonna take you, and then you're gonna send me a large medical bill. So if you don't have insurance, you screwed. In Russia it's not like that. People don't pay as much insurance, and there is socialized medicine, so if you're gonna go to the hospital, you pretty much can get cured for free. Maybe condition wouldn't be as good, but you can actually do it for free. When it comes to school, you can study for free too if you're a good student. Like there are a certain limited number of spaces where you can study for free. But then if you're not gonna get to these spaces, and again, whether you get it or not, it's based on what kind of student are you, if you're doing good at school. But if you get it right, then you can, all school you can go for free. If you don't, again, it's like about the same as the United States, $10,000 a year can be. Again, you can purchase diploma in Russia too. Like I knew some people in Russia, they were not doing anything, they just buying their papers and stuff. You can do that in Russia too. And I lived in Russia till I was like 19 years of age. When I was a teenager, I had life, I was hanging out with people. When I was 17, I was running on the roofs with my friends and in the night, and then my mom was worrying about me. And I said, "Oh mom, I forgot that the bridges were open," because in St. Petersburg we have bridges, and then during the night they're opening like 1 in the morning till 6 in the morning. So basically, if you want side of the city, you cannot go to the other side of the city because bridges are open. So you have to you just basically get locked out. And of course, you have a lot of beautiful buildings, beautiful architecture in St. Petersburg. So center of the city looks really good. Unlike Columbus, it looks like just like a village to me. So it's kind of degrading to me in a way, but my mom wanted me to go to the United States because she believed that the life would be easier for me over there, because in Russia people are mean, or well, in America people are nice, not either. But in America it's all about like appearing to be friendly, putting up the facade, appearing friendly, kind, but still people do what they gonna do, and if they don't like you, they still gonna act like fuck you, you piece of shit. That's it. Only in Russia they're gonna tell you right to your face, and in America they just say, oh, I'm sorry, and they just not gonna talk to you. So in America it's like it's more social laziness. People not gonna tell you what's up. They just gonna kind of hide their true emotion. They just not gonna talk to you. And then also in America it's easier to survive because even if you're useless parasite, there is like certain places where you can go if you're poor. In Russia you don't have like that. You're poor, you got your pension, that's it. You can survive on your pension, that's it. Your problem, go ahead and die, kind of thing. We don't have no, places to eat for the poor people who cannot support themselves. So with taxes it's all different thing. Taxes are low in Russia too. Like here we all people, everybody knows about the tax season. In Russia it's kind of not like that. Then we don't have sales tax in Russia, so if the price is 100 rubles, you're gonna pay 100 rubles. You're not gonna pay more or less. It's not like price is this plus sales tax. We do not have sales tax in Russia. And then the price is here like 6.99, 7.99. In Russia we don't have that. Everything is even. So it's 100 rubles, 100 rubles. It's either 0 or 5, Like you can be like 100 rubles, 50 kopecks, or 100 rubles, 5 kopecks. So it's something like that. You have zeros or fives. But there is no like this crazy nines. We don't have prices like that in Russia. So now quickly about why I came to the United States. Of course I came to the United States because of my dad, because my mom believed that it would be easier for me over here because of the life conditions and stuff. And so I decided to come because of my dad, and my mom was encouraging me. At first I did not like the United States because it was difficult for me. I was pretty lonely. I was living in the house. I could drink or nothing because I came, I was 19 years old. And for me it was really frustrating. In Russia, when I used to hang out with my friends, not all the time, but sometimes, social life. Here I have to be pretty lonely. I have to study a lot and go to college. Of course, going to swimming pool and stuff. My parents were driving cars, but I feel like I live in the village. I was looking at the window outside, and those people were around. Sometimes cars were passing by, but it was, not even that many cars because I used to live like, this like one-story America where everybody lives in the houses, kind of lonely. I didn't know anybody, so on my first 20th birthday over here, bunch of my dad's friends came in, so I felt lonely because I didn't know anyone. The good thing they gave me money, but so what, still kind of lonely. Some people gave me like, one guy gave me a chess set, but again I didn't know these people. Then I was playing soccer, socializing with Russian Jews. And I'm 75% Jewish. Well, ethnically I'm talking about. Again, in Russia it's another thing. In Russia, Jew is a nationality. Here it's a religion. And of course I'm not following Judaism, but my ancestors did. So that's why I'm talking about Jewish ethnically. And I'm quarter Russian because my grandfather, he was actually ethnically Russian. So anyway, so they were Jews. They're supposed to be close to me, but they were not. Because all the Russian Jews are like this. Russia sucks, America rocks. In Russia everybody treats us like shit. Even though of course Jewish people in Russia sometimes they have more than Russian people, they say hate Russia. My dad was even telling me, because my dad used to tell me that he used to have a nice car in Russia, he still hated it because he felt he was discriminated. But you know what? Why should I hate Russia if shit? if I got more, right? If I got a fucking car, if I live a nice life, I don't care about this Russian people treating me like shit. They can all suck my cock as far as I'm concerned. Cause I got money, I can do whatever the fuck I want. So, if you don't like that I'm Jewish and I got money, shut the fuck up and suck on a big fat cock. That's it, that's all I'm gonna give to you. Cause I got money, I don't give a shit. But apparently my parents, they didn't think the same way, they still hated it, so my dad was all, he's all about this Russian Jews who feels like Russia sucks, America rocks, very Russophobic. But I don't have the same mood, so I couldn't really get him on that one. Because I actually had a decent life in Russia, it just came because of my dad. And I actually was very unhappy here, and he was always telling me, go back to Russia if you're so unhappy. But my mom and other people pressured me, and I was 20, 21, 19 years old, I didn't know better. So I just did what they told me to do, because I thought I have to do it. And my friends in Russia were telling me, Emil, get the education and then go back. Well, now I'm still living in the United States, I may go back later. I do have education, I have a job, I have a nice car. And if I would live in Russia, I probably wouldn't have a nice car. And I would get into the accident because Russian driving is bad. My mom doesn't want me to drive car in Russia because she's afraid that if I do drive the car in Russia, I may basically get killed because in Russia people can go on the other side of the road, there's no cars, they're driving close. I was one driving for some of my friends in Russia when I went there, and I was scared myself. So the traffic is not like in America with everything is like controlled and everything is proper. In Russia it's not like that. In Russia people driving like it's like a mess. So people can go on the other side of the road and then come back. Things like that. It's no rules like that. And of course police doesn't follow it like that. So in America of course it's safer and driving is safer, but it's just less fun, you know what I mean? Like in Russia the life is more dangerous a little bit, not by much, but at least you have friends, you can hang out, people don't put the facade, people are not fake. You know if people like you or not, even Philko said that. And here you think that people like you when they don't. They just... In Russia people can say, oh, you're not my friend, but during the day they can talk shit, next day they forgive you. They talk shit, you talk shit, then they forgive you. Here you talk shit, that guy said that, oh, get them to the police, things like that. In Russia somebody hits you, you hit them back and then you talk shit, ta-ta-ta, blah blah blah. Here they can get you for domestic violence. I wish I knew it at the time though, but it's a whole different story. But yeah, here in the United States, if your dad hits you, if your mom hits you, you can report them for domestic violence. It's not like that in Russia, but I kind of like it though in a way. So, and so yeah, I came here to see my dad, to know my dad. He was not really nice to me. We didn't really get along. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. I'm gonna take it back. Sometimes he was okay, but sometimes he wasn't. I lived with him for first 3 years of my life in the United States. And then he kicked me out because I told him off because he was fucking with me because of my grades in school, because I got a C in computer science and engineering because class was so tough. So now I'm living by myself for 5 years and I'm happy about it because I'm free, I can do whatever I want. And again, in America you cannot do whatever you want, because see, like in the United States, everybody looking your like presents, people don't want to deal with you, etc., etc. But again, I used to have problems before too, couldn't get a job, so it's not a new thing for me, I guess. So, but now I do have a job, I'm alright, but yeah. Let me think what else. It's kind of difficult to even say. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Yeah, so basically anyway, coming back to United States, right? Came here was 19, went to college, then to the university, got my diploma, cannot get a professional job yet, was doing drinking videos, was doing other stuff, then I quit, now I barely drink. Well, in Russia I was drinking beer and vodka and champagne outside, and I had fun. Here I was more lonely. I didn't have American friends, I couldn't like make a lot of friends. It was a little bit difficult here than in Russia. It's different too, because here everyone drives, you know, in Russia you don't have to, and everything is close, here it is not. People are more cold kind of here, not as easy to make friends. Everyone, you know, if you want friends, go hang out, it have to be a reason. In Russia, you have nothing to do, you call someone up, let's get drunk together, that's it, let's just do it. And people are more sensitive, you know, like there are certain things, like I remember we were talking about handicap, and they were talking about it too. I said, oh, this guy, his dick is paralyzed, and my friend was like, oh, you cannot say that, but I was like, so what? I mean, that's the truth. What's wrong with saying that? But America people are very like politically correct and things like that, and I don't think it's the same in Russia. Another difference, you know, in America, if people cut you off, they're gonna say I'm sorry, and then if you're not gonna say, oh, I'm sorry, it's my fault, or I didn't mean to, blah blah blah, they're just not gonna talk to you back, and they just say, oh, look, this guy is an asshole, he's kind of rude. In Russia, people just say, what you doing, motherfucker? Don't do it like that. That's how Russian people gonna tell you. Like, come off strong. And here in America, people don't act like that. So if you act like that, they're gonna perceive you as being mean and rude. But in Russia, it's like normal behavior. Then, like I said, people put in a facade. Over there, they don't. In fact, that in Russia, if you smile in public, people think that you're crazy. Here, some people are smiling, some people are not, but you have to like show that, you know, that everything is fine, everything is good. Nobody wanna hear, you know, oh, I have this problem, that problem. In Russia, if you have friends, you can just say, oh, you know, I have this problem, that problem. You can complain, whine, bitch to your friend. You can have drunken conversation with them. That all you do is talk about each other's problems and things like that. Of course, I was too negative in Russia too, but here people are very like on surface, and if they have bad day, they're just not gonna talk to you because they feel like if you wanna see them, you wanna hang out with them, you should be the best behavior. Again, I don't have that mentality like that. That's probably Russian, because in Russia people don't feel like, oh, I'm not in a bad mood, I can't hang out. Like I was in a bad mood, I was still hanging out, I was getting drunk and everything was good. So we don't have this mentality like putting the facade and things like that. He talks shit, you fight, and then if you give each other the next day. That's how it is in Russia. So that's like feel the big issue, you know, like here people don't interact the same way. Here they're kind of passive aggressive. Oh, this guy is saying true emotion, he's so rude. Here's like show you true emotions, it's like being mean or unprofessional. That's why people, instead of showing their true emotions, they just avoid you and they don't talk to you. Like girls can give you their phone number, they don't talk to you. People don't act like that in Russia, they just say no. Well, somebody told me there is a reason behind it, because they give you the phone number, don't talk to you. Why? Because if they're gonna say no, you're still gonna be chasing them around. They're gonna think that, so that's why they do it. But again, Russian people are more confrontational, so, and sometimes Russian people are pushy. So for example, like, I can say, oh, let's go here, person said no, and then I'm gonna insisting and push on people, try to be pushy and aggressive about it, and then people like, okay, we'll do it, okay, fine, and people just do it, or you just trying to get on their mentality, oh, you're not gonna go there, it means you're a piece of shit. Are you my friend or not? Are you a man or not? That's how, like, in Russia people talk. You're not gonna go, you're not my friend. So that's like how Russian people kind of trying to manipulate each other into doing things. That's just how Russian people interact. And sometimes, other people are resisting, and then they're kind of gonna go with it. In America, it's not like that. If you said no, it means no. And if you're gonna push people, they just pushing away and just getting easily offended. I don't know. In Russia, people just don't act like that. So that's kind of, that's the best I can tell, the big difference between America and Russia. Like here, like you say, I'm sorry, and it's for other person to acknowledge the fault. You see, I didn't know that, but somebody told me that, somebody say I'm sorry doesn't mean it's his fault. It means that he wants you to acknowledge that you were wrong. That's why he's saying I'm sorry and also being polite. In Russia, it's like more direct. You're wrong, then what the fuck you doing here, asshole? Why you act like that? Straight up. Here, if people offer you a drink and if you don't like it, they feel like you need to take a sip or something. In Russia, you don't have to. You can just say no, thank you, I don't want. If you're rude, you can say I don't like it, it's kind of rude, but you can say no, thank you, don't have a sip. It's like less polite. You can just say no, thank you, that's it, if you don't like it. Here people feel like they need to try it if somebody offer you. Not like that in Russia, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can say like politely, no thank you, that would be alright. And then another thing, here like employees here say, oh, is that alright if you wanna do you wanna do this? In Russia it's not do you want to, you don't, just do it, that's it. And if you don't do it, like in Russia, I got accustomed to this behavior. You don't act right, people are just gonna like, you do it or what? If you don't do it, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then I'm afraid of them because I know they're bigger and stronger, so I do what they tell you. Here people act like passive-aggressive pussies. So they act like they're weak, like they ask you, do you want to? And my reaction first, like, no, I don't, fuck you. But here's the kick into it in America. If you say you don't, they're gonna do the measures, they're not gonna tell you anything because that's unprofessional, they're just gonna simply slowly get rid of you. So if they say do you wanna do it, it means that you have to do it, but they're just trying to be nice and polite and sugarcoat things. It's Russian like that. If you do it, if you don't do it, that's it. Fuck you. Here people not gonna say like that, but they just gonna act like that. So again, sugarcoating. That's what America is all about. Sugarcoating and being professional and polite. In Russia it's not like that, they just tell you straight up. You don't do it, you out. That's it. And they're not gonna ask you, do you want to do this? They're just gonna like, just do it. Do this, do that. And some people is gonna resist, and if the other person is tougher, he's just gonna force you to do it. If you are tougher, then you're just gonna act like an obnoxious jerk, and you can get all the money and fuck everybody up, and nobody's gonna give a fuck. Because you're stronger, so you can fuck somebody up. That's how kind of mentality we have in Russia, That's why, when I was in school, like I was, for example, calling teachers faggots, and we were making, like, misbehaving in classes. Why? Because teachers were weak, so we know the teachers are weak, we are stronger, so therefore why should we behave? We can just act like a complete jerks and assholes and things like that.